Let's go and find our seats. Going to sing a song this morning called Lion and the Lamb. And it's good energy. It's a great song. But to me, it's more than that. And the chorus talks about God as two things, or as kind of these two versions. And one is a lion. It says that he roars with power and he fights our battles. And sometimes that's the God that we need. We need the God that goes before us in this mighty form and makes us feel safe and secure. We need that as much as the next person. And some days we need to trust a God that feels more like a lamb, like someone that can come beside us, that's someone with a softer approach. Some of the days feel like that. Some of the days feel like it's not as much of a battle, but a quiet tenderness that we need from the Lord as we go before Him. And maybe that's this morning. Maybe you come in the room this morning and you need that quiet tenderness. That's here, and that's for you and with you. And I wish that God could come in the room this morning and tell us and give us everything that He wants to tell us out loud, and we could all hear it and feel it and share it with each other. But it's personal. What God has to say to you is personal. What He needs to tell me this morning is personal, and it's powerful. And so we resist the urge to be anything flashy. We resist the urge to be something overly emotional, and we open ourselves this morning to the God of the universe who says, I am the lion. I do fight your battles, but I will sit with you in tenderness as you come to worship me with your families, with your donut that I provided for you. I will sit with you in tenderness this morning. And so let's go there this morning, take a little bit of time between each song, and just sit with the God of the universe as we worship Him for what He's done for us in our lives. Let's worship this morning. Coming on the clouds, sing it out. It's coming on the clouds, kings and kingdoms will bow down. And every chain will break, as broken hearts declare His praise. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is a lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles. And every knee will bow before Him. Our God is a lamb, the lamb that was slain for the sin of the world. His blood breaks the chains. And every knee will bow before the lion and the lamb. Oh, every knee will bow before the lion and the lamb. So open up the gates. So open up the gates, make way before the King of Kings. Come to save, He's here to set the captives free. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is a lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles. And every knee will bow before Him. Our God is a lamb, the lamb that was slain for the sin of the world. His blood breaks the chains, and every knee will bow before the lion and the lamb. Oh, every knee will
stop?
Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord?
One more time, sing it out.
Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord? Our God is a lion, the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles. And every knee will bow before him. Our God is a lamb, the lamb that was slain for the sin of the world. His blood breaks the chains, and every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Oh, every knee will bow.
Amen.
Here is where I lay it down, every burden, every crown. This is my surrender. This is my surrender. Here is where I lay it down, every lie and every doubt. This is my surrender.
Sing it all together.
I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to.
Here's where I lay.
Here is where I lay it down, every burden, every crown. This is my surrender. This is my surrender. Here is where I lay it down, every lie and every doubt. This is my surrender. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to.
I will make room.
Whatever you want to. I will make room for you to do whatever you want to. Do whatever you want to. I will make room for you. Do whatever you want to. Do whatever you want to.
Shake up the ground.
Shake up the ground of all my my tradition, break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better, your way is better. So shake up the ground of all my tradition, break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better, your way is better.
I will make room for you
To do whatever you want to,
do whatever you want to. I will make room
for you.
do whatever you want to, do whatever you want to.
I will make room for you.
Do whatever you want to,
Do whatever you want to.
I will make room for you. Do whatever you want to, do whatever you want to.
Here is where I lay it down. You are all I'm chasing now. This is my surrender.
There's a grace when the heart is under fire. Another way when the walls are closing in. When I look at the space between
Where I used to be
and this reckoning,
I know I will never be alone.
was another in the fire, standing next to me. Was another in the waters, holding back the sea. Should I ever be reminded how I've been set free?
There is a cross that bears the burden, where another died for me.
There is another in the fire.
All my debt left for dead beneath the waters. I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. And should I fall in the space between what remains of me and this reckoning, either way I won't bow to the things of this world.
I know I will never be alone. There'll be another in the fire, standing next to me.
There is another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding what power set me free? There is a grave that holds nobody, and the power that lives in me is another in the fire.
It's another in the fire. Oh, there's another in the fire. Oh, there's another in the fire. Oh, there is no other name but the name that is Jesus.
Amen. who was and still is and will be through it all. So come what may in the space between all the things unseen and this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. I know I will never be alone. There'll be another in the fire standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. And I can see the light in the darkness as the darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between waves thin. I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us.
Be another in the fire standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Amen. Take a seat, please.
Good morning. I am Diane Hughes, and I want to welcome you to Quest. I'm loving this weather. Oh my gosh, what a shift. Yes. Our vision for Quest is we want it to be a place where the skeptic and the inquirer and the already convinced can all come together and find room and reason to belong here, to believe in God, and to be transformed by the Spirit. And wherever you're at on that continuum in your spiritual journey, we're really happy you joined us, online and in the room too. So ladies, I'm here to address you. We have our first event this fall. The women's ministry team has put together, and we're going to have a line dancing party. Yes, and we want you to come. So we have a caller that we've hired, and you don't need to know how to do anything. So don't feel intimidated if you don't know how to dance. She's going to teach that to us. And what I think makes this really special is that it's an intergenerational event. And what we mean by that is we would like moms, we want you to come and bring your daughters. And grandmothers, we want you to come and bring your granddaughters. So we want to give you an opportunity to have fun with your own family, but in the context of all of us doing it together. Now, this is going to take place on Saturday, September 13th from 4 to 7, right here at Quest. And we're going to have, after the dancing, we're going to have dinner and we're going to have dessert. And all of this is, the cost is going to be $20 for adults and $10 for children 17 and under. We want to make it easy for you to come. There is, the sign-ups are over at the ministry table. There's a QR code there. If you want to use your phone to pay, you can pay today. We would love for you to sign up today. You could also give us cash, and Tara's here, and she has a way to use a credit card. So we have every option for you. But we are just so excited about this. And listen, if you don't have any cowboy boots or cowboy gear, please don't let that stop you. I'm married to Colorado Kevin, and I don't have any. So I'll be there in my tennis shoes. You can dance with me. All right, we hope you join us. It's going to be really fun. Now, there are a lot of other things going on at Quest, so let's take a look at the Skinny.
Good morning, Quest. The Skinny is rather full these days, so now's the time to listen up. BLTs are Quest's mid-sized community groups where our goal is to provide a place for you to belong, learn, and transform. These groups meet twice a month at varying times and locations, so find what works for you. We also have a few Bible studies starting up in September for men and women. You can get all the details for these groups on the website or from one of the flyers that you can find on some of the seats around or over at the ministry table. Next weekend is Labor Day weekend, and that means it's a family Sunday here at Quest, so parents, please be aware that Quest Kids will be closed and all the kids will be up here in main service with their families. There will be childcare available for kids 5 and under. The Legends are back this fall with their monthly lunches after service. This group is for our folks 65 and up to gather for some community on a semi-regular basis. The first gathering will be after service on Sunday, September 7th. They'll be bringing in lunch from Wildwood Pub and Grill. You get to choose from a sandwich or a salad plus dessert and a drink for $15 a meal. Be sure to sign up and pay for your lunch at the ministry table. While you're over there, you can also grab a bookmark with all the upcoming dates through the end of the year. Quest students, we have a new Sunday morning gathering coming your way starting in September. Our 7th through 12th graders are invited to gather in the house offices twice a month during main service. Grab a flyer with all the upcoming dates and you'll also find the Fall Quest Students Wednesday night youth group schedule as well. If you have any questions, please talk to Jonathan Walker. Our annual business meeting is coming up next month on September 21st. We'll be hearing about what's going on in and around Quest, as well as affirming new members, voting on the budget, and new elders. Anyone is welcome to attend, but only members are able to cast their vote. There will also not be a time for questions, so if you have any of those, be sure to get to one of the upcoming town hall meetings where the elders will be going over the budget in depth, as well as talking through some other business. After the annual meeting, we'll be doing our baptism palooza and potluck. We have a couple of Questers interested in baptism, so we'll be doing that and then celebrating with a huge potluck lunch. Be sure to sign up at the ministry table so we know how much fried chicken to order. If you're interested in baptism, please talk to Jonathan Walker or Kevin Hughes. You'll find signups over at the ministry table, and as always, I encourage you to check out the website to find all the details on any of these events, plus so much more, and you will find that at questchurchstl.org. Now, for the second week in a row, please welcome one of our current elders as he introduces you to one of our upcoming elder candidates.
All right, or as in the worship band, same song, verse 2, as we say. So I'm going to repeat myself a little bit, and I'm going to add some more information from last week. So since January, we've been doing Elder Candidate School. It's something we've done. This is the third time we've done it since Quest has started as its own church. And in that time, we invite guys. We invited 11 guys to come and to basically go through a book called Christ and Church Leadership with us. And in that book, it talks a lot about the primary role of the elders, the way we do eldering. It's not to act as a board of directors, it's to seek the mind of Christ first. And he speaks with one voice. So we should always come to a place of unpressured, unhurried unanimity on our decisions. And so through that process, there are guys that are ready for eldering. There are guys that need a little more time to cook. And so we felt that the mind of Christ was telling us about 4 guys that we should invite to be elders. And so we talked with each of them and their wives, and all 4 accepted. So that's a humbling thing, an affirmation that it was God speaking to us. So those 4 are, bada bing, Brad Wyckhouse, sorry, I always get it wrong. Patrick Lloyd is going to speak today. Brad spoke last week to you. And then Tom Pruden and Doug Walker. And so all 4 of these guys will be joining the elder team. Now, we have 2 elders, Jim Moore and Thomas Loafman, Tilo, who are going to be rolling off for their sabbatical years. Mike Takis has just finished his sabbatical year. He's going to be coming back on. So that gives us 4 elders. So we would have run 1 short of the requirement of 5 elders. Now we're adding 4 new guys, assuming you all approve them. And that will bring us to 8 elders. It's the most we've ever had. We started at Quest at 7 elders, but we feel this is the right time for that number of elders, and we're really excited about it. So, with that said, having announced them, let's go to the next slide. A little bit of business here. So by the bylaws, we need to announce who the 4 elders are, candidates are, at least 2 weeks before the annual meeting, which is it's a little ways away yet. So we've done that. If any of you have any reservations about any of these candidates, then we ask you to write something out, email, text, whatever, put your name to it, and hand it to any of the elders, and we'll look into that and investigate it and get back with you on it. So that's the process that you have there. Also, I might have been a little unclear last week. We're going to, at the annual meeting, we're going to vote on each of the candidates separately. So you vote for each candidate, you got 4 votes. And then we also have to vote for Mike Takis to kind of roll him back in. So this week, Patrick, last week, Brad, and then Tom, and then, thank you. Sorry, Doug. And then Doug will come up and speak over the next few weeks. So today, Patrick, we'll let you give your testimony. Thank you.
I'll take that. Or is this? Well, I'll take this one. Sure. All right. Well, thank you very much. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. So first of all, my name's Pat Lloyd, and I do want to say, like, through this whole process, it's been a very humbling experience, and I'm quite honored to be considered for eldership. Quest has become a place that is very near and dear to me and to my family, and we definitely feel the love of Christ here, and we are excited about that. So if you were here last week or possibly tuned in, you got to listen to Brad Whitehouse eloquently give his story describing his relationship as well as his fighting his rebellious spirit. Now, he mentioned that he never had the cops called on him. So I chuckled to myself because I can't say the same. And in fact, I don't think I could give my full story without mentioning the time that I did have the cops called on me. But before that, we'll start at the beginning here. So to have a true understanding of who I am, I think it'd be great to start with my parents. My mother was a Christian when she was young, but for some reason she was attracted to a rebellious teen with long hair and a disdain for authority who ended up being my dad. Their first date was a Grateful Dead concert, if that gives you any idea. So he grew up in a household that was half Catholic and half secular, with a heavy emphasis on education and a penchant for parties. Alcohol was free-flowing at all family events, and he certainly embraced that. The two of them were married when they were quite young, and a few years after that, I was born, their second of 3 kids. Despite, or perhaps because of the pressures of being a husband with 3 new kids, it led him to heavy drinking when I was young. It eventually led to my wife separating from him, and he moved out of our house. He was living in an apartment by himself. I was about 5 years old at the time, and a particular night hit him quite hard, and he prayed to a God that he didn't believe in for help. That night, he gave his life to Jesus, and that night was the last night that he touched alcohol. Eventually, my dad proved he had changed to my mother, and she took him back, and we were a family ever since. And for those who don't know, to complete the cycle here, my dad is now a pastor at a rural church in Missouri. So as for me, I'm a native St. Louisan with a love for gooey butter cake, pork steaks, Provel cheese, and St. Louis Cardinals. When I was young, even after my dad's conversion, our family was pretty much irregular attenders at church. We were discovering what it means to be Christian, and we would become members at some mainline denomination churches and attended sporadically, but we never plugged in. This changed my freshman year of high school, when we started attending a local conservative Presbyterian church that gave authority to the Bible. something that we had never seen before. We became regular attenders on Sunday mornings, and pretty much any time that the church doors were open, we were there. But as for myself, my attendance was in body only. So out of the Lloyd siblings, my sister, my brother, and me, I would almost certainly best represent the rebellious nature of my father. While most of my life was consumed with sports at the age of 16, until the age of 16, when I turned 16, I started going out on a regular basis with friends. We would play pranks in the neighborhoods, and some of the very neighborhoods you guys all live in. And I started dabbling I was 16 at the time. I was dabbling in alcohol and tobacco. I was beginning to walk down that same path that my father did so many years before. That was until one summer night. When my friends and I went out, I was the driver of my group. And being a group of rowdy teenagers, I was driving my parents' minivan. We were playing pranks in the neighborhood. And now I did debate on whether I would share what these pranks were, but I didn't want to make light of it. And also, I didn't want to give any ideas to the TikTok generation. So if you catch me in the hallway, or if you want to come up to me, I'd be more than happy to tell you what exactly it was. But through the course of these pranks, as I mentioned, I was driving my parents' minivan, and someone grabbed our license plate number. And my parents got a call from the Wildwood Police. I was escorted to just across the street over here to the Wildwood Police Station and was confronted about what we did. I was mortified, I was convicted, and I was humbled. This was very much a turning point for me, and I fully believe that Christ used this circumstance to guide me. I realized that going down this path and continuing down this path was going to be destructive, and through this event, Christ was calling me to himself. From then on, I chose to distance myself from certain friendships and stepped away from smoking and underage drinking. I joined the church's youth group, where the youth leader took me under his wing, and I quickly became deeply involved in both youth ministry and the broader church community. It was during this season that I surrendered my life to Christ. A couple months later, I was working at the local Schnucks and got an opportunity to train a pretty cute new bagger. Her name was Elizabeth. I quickly became enamored with her, and got excited anytime that I noticed that our schedules were aligned, and we got to hang out together a little bit. So we started hanging out more and more, and we would have long discussions about life, about Christ, and about the future. And then shortly after this, if I wasn't at school, if I wasn't at work, then I was with Elizabeth. And so then after school, after high school, I should say, Elizabeth and I went away to college to what is now known as UCM. It wasn't back then, but Go Mules. And within a couple of years, we were married. So after getting married, we came back to St. Louis, and I took over my father's small business while he attended seminary. So that's right. I've coined the term post-adolescent pastor's kid. So it's a PAPK. So then, while we were in our mid-20s, Elizabeth and I welcomed our first son, Elijah. I was finishing up my last semester of my computer science and mathematics degree, and I transferred over to UMSL. I was also interning at a local company and running my dad's business, and we were also very involved in the church. I would often leave the house at 7 a.m., not return until 9:30 at night. We loved being new parents. We loved each other, and finances and time were tight, but it was something that we both look back on a joy. Within 3 years, we welcomed our second son, Noah, and our daughter, Ellie. We had 3 kids, 3 and under, with all 3 in diapers at the same time. Raising these 3 kids was an amazing experience, and Elizabeth and I would pray over them every night that they would love God and that we wouldn't fail them. I know that we have failed them from time to time and time again, but God has remained faithful to us and brought us through our failures to a greater good than we would have ever expected. When our kids were young, we spent as much time as we could spare hiking through the country or state parks, camping, yes, in actual tents, believe it or not, and just enjoying God's creation. It's been amazing watching our young kids grow into some of the most remarkable young adults I've ever known. I couldn't be more proud of who they are and the individual faith I see in each of them. I wish I could say it was because of our stellar parenting, but I know it's only through the grace of God. Elizabeth and I we both work currently in software development. We both manage development squads for different companies in the St. Louis area. And through 25 years of marriage, we strive to make each other laugh and let the kids know that we love each other. We love them, and we love the Lord. So, just after the pandemic, and after about 12 years at our previous church, The Journey in West County, God convicted us through several circumstances that we needed a new church home. After a short search, we visited Quest, and soon after realized we'd found our home. It was our first Sunday was Easter 2022. We love the people here. Your faithfulness to Christ and the faithfulness to the community around us is a true reflection of God, and we rejoice in being a small part of it. We love God's people and want to make a difference for the glory of God. I know that I don't deserve God's grace. I know that He called me anyway. I know I don't deserve Christ, but He sent Himself anyway. And while I continue to struggle with faults and sins, I thank God I'm not the man that I once was and who I was on track to become. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Christianity, if false, is of no importance. If true, is of infinite importance, and the only thing it cannot be is moderately important." I strive to live my life with this conviction. For as Paul says in Philippians 1:21, to live is Christ and to die is gain. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Patrick. So again, the elders unanimously feel that God is calling Patrick to be an elder, and I think we benefit from both he and his wife and the maturity they both bring. All right, so now please welcome up Kevin Hughes. You know who he is. He's going to share with you a message on his heart.
Was smarter than the machine. All right. Hey, good morning. Good to see you. Hey, Patrick, thank you so much for sharing your testimony, Elizabeth, and your family. That's good to, it's exciting. I'm excited about it. So you guys, for the last 250 years, we've been in a series on 1 Corinthians called Messy Church. And it's only half as long as we spent in Matthew. So, guess we call it Messy Church because church can be messy, because life can be messy. The world's a messy place, right? So we're just going to talk about messy church. But let me add this. Life is not always messy, right? It's not always totally messy. It can be uniquely engaging, uniquely interesting, and all this. So there are certain transformative questions in life. You ever had those transformative questions? They're really important. They're kind of life-changing. Let me just kind of give you a few in my own life. In the 8th grade, there was a gal named Janice Kirkpatrick, and I had to ask her this: would you like to go to the dance with me? I'm in 8th grade. It's the first time there ever is kind of this guy-gal thing the school's sponsoring, and you're going to go, it's a dance. And I'm like, and all my friends were inviting these girls, and I'm like, oh man, girls kind of freaked me out. to be honest with you. And going to a dance seemed like absolutely the worst experience in my entire life. I'm not a dancer. I don't really enjoy dancing. I'm like, to go to a dance seems really, and I look back and I go, what a stupid thing to do. The only thing I know about dancing, Gina has taught me, and it's you screw in the light bulb. So all you have to do is this. It's all I know about dancing. So I learned it at her wedding reception. But and this was a modestly enjoyable experience for me in the 8th grade. It was like I knew I'm not ready to be a dancer, and I don't think I'm ready for girls. And so I kind of waited 2 more years before I ever asked a girl out again, because like Janice was nice enough, but yeah, not for me. But it was transformative, right? There was another transformative moment when I was a senior in high school. I'd played baseball all the way up to that. And so here comes the last season of my senior year, and the Coach Berkheim, who had played for my father when he was a senior in high school, he comes to me and says, "Kevin, are you going out for baseball again?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not going out because I can't hit the curveball." That's really the measurement if you're a baseball player. Eventually, if you can't hit a curveball, you're not a baseball player. And I couldn't hit the curveball. It freaked me out. The thing's coming at me. Why wouldn't you get out of the way? That's what I thought. I'm like, I'm getting out of the way. And then it curves right over the plate. So it was transformative. I went out for track, decided I'd throw the discus. That takes about 15 minutes every practice, and then I just go do other things. And the coach said, "Hey, why don't you come run the mile relay?" I'm like, No, you have to run around the track full speed all the way around. People die doing that. Why would I do that? And he said, "I don't know, because I told you I'm the coach." And I'm like, so I had to run the mile relay. It was transformative. Or a few years later, when I'm a sophomore in college, eventually my mom and dad said, "Hey, what are you going to major in? You got to major in something." I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know what to major in." And eventually I figured it out. I loved history, and I knew I loved people, so I became a history teacher. I've been doing it ever since. There was really a transformative moment, January 21st of 1983. There's this cute gal from St. Louis. We meet in Southern California, Long Beach, at a volleyball tournament or kind of game. And eventually, on January 21st, I asked her to marry me, and thank goodness she said yes. Transformative question. There's another one a couple of years ago I began to ask, and I brought it up. But the question is this: when do we need to start talking about a succession plan? When do we need to start doing that? You guys, I felt like it was just prudent. It's not like I was ready or, really interested, but it seemed rational to me. I was 67, 68, whatever, and I thought, okay, people will start retiring. Like, should we start talking about this? And the elders kind of said, yeah, okay. And then they ignored me for the next year or year and a half, never said a word about it. I'm like, whatever, but it's a transformative question. But the more we talked about it, the more we asked this question. Well, when are you done? When will you be done? Or when do you want to be done? And you guys, the elders were so kind and respectful and gentle, and they just said, okay, Kevin, that's fine, but you just tell us when you want to do this. So I began to wrestle with this question, and I could not find an answer. I'm like, what do you mean? When am I done? I don't know when I'm done. I don't feel like I'm done. But the question's reasonable, but I don't know. And so let me just have a few thoughts here. One is this: I'm not tired of doing this. I'm not tired of this. And I could say I'm not tired of this job, but it's actually not a job for me. It feels like a calling. Someone the other day asked me how much I make. I have no idea, to be honest with you, what I make, because I don't care. I just like what I do. Now, Diane does our book, so she knows what I make, but I don't really know, and I don't really give a rip. I just love doing what I'm doing. But I will say this: the only things that I'm tired of doing are the things that I'm not good at. And because I'm not good at everything. And so I began to wrestle with that, because the things I'm not good at, I'm tired of that. I have strengths, I have non-strengths, and I have weaknesses. But let me just give you a few thoughts about kind of why I've landed where I've landed. Here's kind of a design. This really helped me in life. Leadership styles. Some people are designed to be designers. They're just designers in a way. There are other people who are developers, right? And then there's other people who are really good managers. We need all these kinds of leaders. But where you land kind of depends or kind of helps it know what to do with it. So as I've wrestled with this, as I've learned about myself, here's where I land. I'm not a pure designer, but I like to design. I like to take someone else's design and I like to mess with it and make it better. And then I like to develop it. And then I drop it and I move on. And I don't manage it for anything. I've done this my whole life. This is just kind of the way I'm wired. And so I would say part of these leadership style has helped Quest, and some of my leadership style has hurt Quest because I'm not really good at the back piece of this or the right-hand side of this. I'm not. And so I thought, wow, I think it needs someone who is more of a developer manager because I'm not good at that part. And I drop things along the way, and it really hurts the ministry. I'm not beating myself up over it. I think I was good for Quest in this planting process and in the developing process. I am not good at the other part of managing it more long term. I'm not very good at it. So that's kind of worn on me a little bit. I'm tired of doing the things I'm not very good at, okay? So let's go back. The question, when will you be done, or when do you want to be done, didn't work for me. It didn't work. So I changed the question. I changed the question to this. When does Quest need a new, fresh voice to help it bridge to the future? When does Quest need a new, fresh voice to help it bridge to the future? Because the question, when am I done, was all about me. And that is not a good place to be. This isn't about me, right? This is about what does the Lord want? And so when does Quest need a new, fresh voice to help it bridge to the future? And to tell you the truth, when I ask that question, the answer is sooner rather than later. It just hit me. It's sooner rather than later. We could wait another year, 2 or 3, but it just kind of puts off the inevitable. And so I thought, it's sooner than later. And so that's kind of where we landed. Now let me just say this. When I say sooner rather than later, this is one of those helpful paradigms that have really helped me. So here's a timeline of life, okay, up here. And here's the deal. The most important things that happen between the ages of 0 and 20 is about identity. It's about learning who you are. This is just so helpful. You guys, this explains a ton about what's going on in our culture. The radical, messed up deal about who people are. It's the most important thing that happens in those ages. Going to math class is important. Going to history class probably a little more important for an old history teacher. But learning who a person is between the ages of 1 and 20 is so critical. And then between 20 and 40 is all about learning and growing. Just think of all the things you do to learn and grow. You graduate from college, or you get your first job, you might get married, might have kids, might get your first time you get fired. Those are all incredible learning experiences, right? And you learn and you grow, and you learn and you grow, and you learn and you grow. And then between 40 and 60 is all about exercising influence, because you know who you are, and you've learned and you've grown, and you're ready to exercise influence. That's what some of these new elders are all about. They know who they are, they've learned and they've grown, and now they're ready to exercise influence. Then between 60 and 80, or let's go a little bit beyond that, right, until the end of life, it's all about offering wisdom. And you offer that wisdom back to those who are exercising influence, those who are learning and growing, those who are creating their identity. That's what it's all about. So there's a rule of thumb that says that the audience, if you're 15 years one side or the other of the speaker, you think the speaker understands you. All right? So let's put here. Here's me, this arrow. I'm 70 years old. So let's take a rule of thumb, and let's say 15 years one side or the other. And it's this. Here's Kevin's range of relevance. It's between 55 and 85. If you're between 55 and 85, you think I understand your world. Whether I do or not doesn't really matter. You think that I do or don't, right? Now, let's be really kind. Let's expand it by 5 years on one side or the other. Let's say between 50 and 90, I understand you. Well, do I think I understand a little bit broader than that? Frankly, I do. But I'm not sure the audience thinks I do. And do I really understand what it's like to be 25 in 2025? It's different than it used to be. And I wonder if we could use, because that's the future, right? That is the future. And God has given us down on this other end of the spectrum, has given us wisdom to give back to those people. So I wonder if a new person with a fresh voice, so let's say I'm just going to put 40 here, their range of relevance, and let's be as gracious to them as I've been to myself, and let's expand it a little bit, that somewhere between 20 and 60, they're going to get it. Wow, I think that it's time for that. So I'm not tired of this, but there's time for transitions, right? So look at this real quickly. Deuteronomy 34. I'm going to read this quickly, but this is the end of Moses' life. Now, you guys, I'm not planning on dying. That's the only hesitation I have about changing is a lot of people, when they kind of retire, though I'm frankly not retiring, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll do something else. But when people retire, they have a tendency to die. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. That's not on the deal. But here's Moses, and he's about to die, but he goes, so Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, which is opposite Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land. You guys, he's going to show him the land from north, counterclockwise, all the way around to the Dead Sea. It's incredible. And he says, the Lord showed him all the land, Gilead as far as Dan, all Naphtali, the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, the land of Judah as far as the western sea, that's the Mediterranean, and the Negeb and the plain, that is the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, as far as Zoar. And the Lord said to him, and this is the land that I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and I will give it to your offspring. I have let you see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over there. Remember, he disobeyed the Lord. One time, the Lord told him not to hit this rock with his staff, and he did, because he was angry. And the Lord said, you're not going into the promised land. Wow, that's incredible. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And he was buried in the valley of the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor. But no one knows the place of his burial to this day. Wow. And Moses was 120 years old. I'm not 120. But look at this. I love this last line. Highlight it. His eye was undimmed and his vigor unabated. It's not like he wore out. He was ready to go. But the Lord brought transition, even with his energy. Wow, that helps me. So some of the advice I've gotten over the years, and more recently, is this. Don't leave too soon. Don't leave too soon. It's a really good advice. You got to think it through. Don't leave too soon. But you know what, you guys, the opposite's true too. Don't stay too long. Don't stay too long. You see, it's not about just staying as long as it's comfortable for me. That's not the goal. So don't stay too long. And so I've come to the conviction that now's the time. So just a few thoughts I want to throw out. I don't have something I'm moving on to. It's not like I figured out something else and I want to move on. That's not what this is about. I believe that Christ is the only hope for this world, for your life and for my life, for our neighbors' lives. So I'm not moving on to something different. I just think it's time. Here's the second part, I don't plan on taking a full-time job, but I do want to stay busy doing something that expands and enriches the kingdom of Christ in the lives of people. I still want to do that because I actually believe that Jesus is the only answer. I really do. Now, this puts us in a place where we have to trust God with our future. That means Di and I. We have to trust him and not simply slide off into retirement mode. That doesn't resonate for me. We're not sliding off to that. I just think it's time. And we're going to have to trust God, just like you. I have to trust God again in my life. You know, it's not like, okay, I get to retire and, you know, go on easy street. That is not going to work. We have things we're still obligated to. We're going to have to do something. But it really reminded me this morning, I was asking the Lord to confirm some things, and I've been asking him that for several weeks. A couple of weeks ago, I had lunch with a really good friend, and we were sharing some things about the future, and we resonated about some of the things. And I thought, God, I feel like it's a confirmation that we have a similar vision and interest. It really helped me. This morning when I was getting out of bed, it just hit me that this is all about our values here at Quest. Here's our ministry values. As a church as a whole, it's about love, integrity, relevance, and patience. That's what we want to be about. But as we do ministry values, it's about love. It's about trusting God, about having faith. It's about effectiveness. And it's about developing the future, developing people. And for me, this decision is shaped by those values of love, faith, effectiveness, development. Wow, that's exciting to me. Now, let me just go on. Diane and I intend to continue being a part of the Quest community. This is our home. You are our peeps. You're our peeps. So that's just the way it is. But now, because we're Quest, circle it. Circle your butt. We need to be sensitive and discerning as to what the needs of this new leadership will be. That's on us. That's on me to handle it well. So we intend to be an encouragement to them and to you. All right? So all we're doing is rearranging the benches, right? So it wouldn't be Quest if I didn't say this. So, therefore, what now? So here's the deal. Our job, that means your job and my job, our job is to stay on the bench and continue rowing together, right? You guys, remember 1 Corinthians chapter 4? I knew this day was coming. I didn't know when, but this verse, it says this. Paul says, because they're fighting about being of Paul and of being of Apollos and being of Peter, and they're fighting about their little leader guy, right? It's ridiculous. It's crazy. And Paul says to them, this is how you should regard us as servants of Christ and stewards of the mysteries of God. And this word servants, circle it real quick. This word servants is the word uperitos. And uperitos means this. It means an assistant or helper. It literally means to be an under-oarsman or an under-rower. Here, look at this picture. In a Roman ship, the guys down below the first level were the under-rowers. That's what he's saying. We're just down here rowing together. The only one on the bridge, the only one calling out the shots is the Lord Jesus Christ. He's in charge. He's the commander. He's the captain. He's the one running the deal. And the rest of us just row together. Sweaty, stinky, row together, right? That's what we're doing here. So, our job is to stay on the bench and continue rowing together. And let's just highlight this. Blow it up. This next one, blow it up. It says, I'm thinking, if we will row together and keep our focus on the Lord, the best days of Quest are ahead of us. I believe that with all my heart. If we will row together and keep our focus on Christ, He's the captain. He's running the ship. He's trustworthy. He has been the captain from eternity past, and He will be to eternity future, and so He ought to be right now, right? Of course. Now, you guys, part of my job will be to help us get ready for a new leader. It's not the only part of my job, but that'll be part of it. And then the elder's job, along with whomever they involved in the process, will eventually be all of you. And it is determined that they will determine, along with your confirmation and vote, who the next person will be. And you're probably wondering, okay, what's that look like? Or they're going to come tell you. Here we roll.
Good morning. As I was standing in the back kind of watching when Kevin started into this, I kind of saw the looks, to people sitting next to each other. So I just want to acknowledge that we understand the weight and importance of this as well. By the way, I'm Brad. This is Brian. Brian's been up here once this morning already, but we've had more time to process this, and we've probably quipped more than once, all of us during elder meetings, that we would like to roll off on sabbatical rather than have to deal with this. But Jim and Tilo are the ones that won that lottery. So, yeah, we do understand how important this is, and early on we felt the pressure, and this is, as Kevin said, a few years ago. And I just want to tell a quick story. We're running out of time, but Mike Shields from our district, we called him in and said, hey, how do we do something like this? What does it look like? And after peppering us with questions for about an hour and a half, he came back at that time, this is January 2023, and said, you know what, Kevin, you got a lot of energy. You still got a passion for this. I don't think you guys need to be in a hurry. And he kind of affirmed a lot of the things that are going on here with Quest in the way we do things, the way we elder everything. So that was encouraging, and it took some pressure off. On a practical level, preparing for this is just a prudent thing. Over time, this is natural. And, quite frankly, we had a situation with Kevin's heart issue a little over a year ago that would have put us in a situation where you guys may have been asking us, well, why weren't you prepared for this? And so that would have been a fair question. So as Kevin said, he's been leading the charge on this. We've given him time to work through that. But I just wanted to acknowledge that this is a transitional time. It's important. We're going to trust the Lord on this every step of the way. And Brian will cover the process side of this in a minute. I wanted to, if you can go to the distinctive slide. So one of the foundational things we've spent time on is trying to figure out who we are and what do we want going forward to make sure that we keep those things in place. So forgive me as I read these, but I think the way we've got these worded is important, and it's good to hear. So we're in and for the community, a belief that part of our mission is to be a light to our local community, to be of practical and spiritual help to the local schools, first responders, city officials, and citizens, especially focused on Wildwood, but we ripple out from there. Focus on discipleship, a focus on building up each person, whether a skeptic, inquirer, or the already convinced, to more maturity in Christ. Maturity is probably one of the primary words we use in elder meetings on a regular basis. Authenticity and vulnerability. So we believe that a correct understanding of our individual brokenness is important for growth as Christ follower, aiding us in navigating our relationship with God and with our fellow man. And we're engaging the culture with biblical truth. Engaging a culture that increasingly sees following Christ as irrelevant, including addressing the difficult and divisive cultural issues of the day in a way that does not demean, devalue, or demoralize others, but seeks to speak biblical truth with grace and love. We're missions-oriented. We invest in and support both financially and in relationship selected missions with whom we have a strong connection. We are welcoming. I often say you can't come to Quest and hide, and some of you that may be new here have probably experienced that. But we do that in a way that we're a place and a people that feels friendly and inviting to the skeptic, the inquirer, and regular church attender, all while delivering biblical truth with grace and love. And then last, the Christ-centered eldering. The way we do it here is not what a lot of you experience. We are not a board of directors. We are seeking the mind of Christ. We are praying. We work on unpressured unanimity. You've heard it multiple times, and that is really what happens. And so we are committed to that. So as I heard Kevin talk about being a designer and a developer, I think you can see his fingerprints over all of this. He's laid a strong foundation for us, and it's who we are. The management part of that, I think, is up to all of us. It's up to the elders, it's up to the congregation, everybody that is invested in the body of Quest. So I'm going to hand it off to Brian now to talk about the process.
All right, the process guy. So, I don't know, Kevin, if you mentioned it, but the timeline here is very flexible, right? It's 6 months to 2 years we talked about in terms of when the transition time is. So it's not like he died today. Kind of feels like that in here, but he didn't. All right, okay. So here's what we're going to do. So the elders will operate as the search committee. Now that may feel a little funny to some of you that have come from other churches. Why not recruit a separate search committee team like a whole bunch of other churches do? Well, the first reason is it's actually mandated by our bylaws that the elders will operate as a search committee for the senior pastor. Second, I think it's one of the most important decisions we face as a congregation. And the elders are tasked with the spiritual shepherding, the spiritual oversight of our church. I can't think of a more important issue to take our focus and our time and our attention than to seek the mind of Christ for the person that is next going to come and pastor us and lead us all. That said, we're going to be reaching out to some of you with special skills and with spiritual maturity for assistance. It'd be foolish to try to do it by ourselves. We're approaching this in the same way we do everything, unhurried. Kevin's given us a range, not a date. It's very unusual for that to happen, and it's a gift. We're going to seek the mind of Christ, and we're going to do it with unpressured unanimity at the end. So Christ speaks with one voice. If we're listening well, he'll give us unanimity on that. So don't want to rely on just ourselves. Here's how you can help. First of all, bathing our efforts in prayer and communication with God, listening for his voice is not just a nice to have, it's an absolute essential. So the elders will most certainly be doing that, but we would benefit greatly from you doing the same. And while we can all pray at any time, anywhere, we're asking for a prayer team that will be kind of focused on that, covering our efforts in prayer. So if you want to join that prayer team, we'd like just come and talk to any of the elders, and we'll get you on that. And also, if God is placing on your heart to be the prayer captain, the person that will cover, that will kind of organize all that, we'd really love to talk to you as well. All right? Second, in addition to prayer, we need your assistance. Bring us candidates. I'm going to tell you in a moment where our status is, but we're always looking for more candidates. We're going to give you monthly updates. We'll have a monthly update and feedback session, third Sunday of every month right after the service. We'll just do it right here. Now, in September, we have our business meeting on the third Sunday. So we're just going to kind of use the town halls as updates then. And then today after service, the elders will be up here if you have any questions that you want to ask us about the process going forward, about how we got here, all that kind of stuff. Okay, current status. So question you might have is, what about Jonathan? So Jonathan is asked to be considered. So Jonathan is in the mix here. In addition to Jonathan, we've plugged into the database of EFCA Central District pastors looking for senior pastor positions. It turns out we're kind of an attractive church in the EFCA Central District for two reasons. One is we're near a major metropolitan area, and the Central District, which is basically Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, doesn't have a lot of major metropolitan areas. So that's good. Second is this is a really stable congregation. And this is the founding pastor moving on after, 12 years? 13 years? He's back when we were in First Free, he's been doing it then. It's almost 20 years he's been with us. And so there's not division here. So we're attractive for that bit. Okay, so we've selected 12 of candidates for further review. Of those, 4 of them we have some interest, and of those, 1 of them we've talked to. Now that doesn't mean that we've selected the most promising candidate. We're still doing our canvassing. And that's because this is what we found so far. We decided that the number one fit to determine if somebody would be good is their ability to preach with vulnerability and authenticity. Got to preach the Word of God, but you got to share yourselves too, right? Howard Hendricks, the old storied professor from Dallas Theological Seminary, said, if you want your congregation to bleed, you got to hemorrhage. And Kevin's done that for us for a long time. It's been ugly to watch, but he's done that for us. So we're watching all the sermons for these candidates that we've found that are a match on paper, and every one of them are great preachers of the Word, and you don't learn a thing about any of them. And so I talked to the acting superintendent for the Central District about this. He said, yeah. He said, that's not a feature of the EFCA. He said, we teach our guys how to be good teachers. We don't teach them how to share their lives. He said, it drives me crazy, but that's just kind of what we do. So, and it struck me, well, Kevin didn't come out of the EFCA. He came out of Cru, right? So, makes sense. So anyway, if you have candidates, bring them to us, and we'll go forward from there. Okay, for those of you that embrace change, you're like, hey, let's go. For those of you that fear change, this is just kind of unravel you. But there's one thing that's sure, regardless of our individual response. God is still in control, and it is well with our soul. Let me pray. Father God, thank you for the years, for the way you work through Kevin in our congregation. And thanks that you've created this body that loves each other. And I pray that you bind us together, that in this time of transition, that we would have peace about what's happening. We'd have good communication, and that you would bring the person that you want to help lead us for the next phase of our time. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever Thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. My sin, oh, the bliss of this glorious thought, the clouds be rolled back as a scroll. The trump shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul.
One more time, all together. It is well.
It is well.
Let's hear it, church.
With my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul.
All right. Hey, you guys, thank you for your indulgence this morning. We'll move on and get back into the Word and let's go deep and real. Now, for some of you, this is kind of the benediction. There's some early adapters to this who are saying, thank God it's about time. And guess what? I embrace you and I understand. And then there's some late adapters. That's always typical. Late adapters are saying, the sky is falling, and just so you know, it's not. And then there's the middle adapters, and your response is this. It is like, oh, okay. Okay, let's get on. And here's the real deal on this next piece. Let's keep rowing together because of this. Because there is a king to be worshiped, and there is a world to be reached, right? And so all I can say is this: let's row. Let's row together, because the Lord is worthy of our full hearts, right? And so let's do it together. So you guys, thank you, and we love you, and so may God bless our rowing together, right? All right. Love you guys. Be well.